All right, guys, welcome back into another PGA DFS live video. Got the Punta Cana Corrales Resort and Golf Championship. I think I got that right. It's such a long name, but it's kind of fun to say. I already got a question coming in from Owen here. He is wondering if going all in for Pat Perez this week is dumb. Yes, going all in would be dumb, I would say, for sure. But having some of him is not a bad idea. I do like him as a play this week. I definitely get him as a play this week. So I'll pull it up here real quick on the stat sheet on my side. So obviously he's been really hit or miss. He had those 2 withdrawals in a row, which were 2 and 3 events ago. But before that and in between that, he had been playing some really good golf. So I get him as a play. If you want to go ahead and play him, I'm perfectly fine with that as a play. For me personally, I've been kind of ending up on him, Ventura, and Charlie Hoffman a ton. Been mixing and matching in Luke List a little bit as well, so I totally get that as a play. It's a decent play for you. And then, yeah, that's a good point, Chad. If it's outright bets, I don't mind him as an outright bet. For a good example, that would be someone like Johnny Vegas this week. It's like he's a better outright bet than he is like a DFS play because we don't know what Johnny V's going to do. So, I don't know. It's an interesting play there. Would you go back to your boy Matthew Naismith this week? So, I'll pull him up on the stat sheet if I can as well. All right, let me pull him up there. Give me a second. All right, pulling up my boy Matt Naismith. One sec. There he is. I'm just going to search him. So Matthew Naismith, so I do get him as a play. Top 20 stat fit still. Had a 6th at the Puerto Rico Open. Had a 48th at the Mayakoba Golf Classic as well. He's a great total driver, strong in strokes gained total, decent in par 5 scoring, especially relative to the field. He's a birdie maker as well. I'm fine with him as a play. I do have a little bit of him, especially, he's our boy. We got to go back to the well with him. I don't love overdoing it with him. But this week, I feel like it's going to be a very, very chalky week. So you do have to kind of mix and match some non-preferred plays. And I guess I would say he's not as preferred this week as he typically is. He's a little bit priced up for me. Would you prefer Denny McCarthy or Jonathan Vegas? So, definitely Denny McCarthy. Johnny V does pop, though, so I get it. That's an interesting question, though, Chad, because McCarthy is priced up so much more than Johnny V. Denny McCarthy had a 26 finish here in 2019, 4th in 2018. He typically does well in these events. That's kind of why I gotten used to him as a play. It's just like events like this. Strong birdie maker, strong par 5 scoring, great total putter. And then I'll pull up Vegas just because I'll show you guys why he's popping. So, yeah, top 10 stat fit, but he's been horrible. He absolutely has been horrible. But this is a course where his mistakes shouldn't really hurt him as much. You look at that birdie or better percentage. Okay, not great though. Could be better. Strong strokes gained off the tee or strokes gained tee to green. Strong par 5 score. I do expect him to make the cut, but it's more of a play where it's very risk reward this week with him. Then we got a question about James Hahn as well, so I'll get into James Hahn here. James Hahn, I do have a little bit of. He is a decent stat fit. He's kind of priced up though, so he's a top 10 stat fit. Great par 5 score, and that's kind of the biggest thing is that he's going to have to score on these par 5s if he's going to have a big week, which he typically does. He's not the best birdie or better percentage player, but everything else, total driving, ball striking, strokes gained total, it's been pretty good. I could see him putting it together. He did have the 58th finish at the Mayakoba Golf Classic as well, so not a bad play. I get it as a play. But this is just an interesting week because there are 6 players I'm on, and that's going to be the core. Pretty much. And there's 4 that I think are just standout plays. And this can be mixing and matching. I know for the U.S. Open, there's about 12 great plays. This week, there's 4, which makes it easier, but it makes it a little bit scarier, per se, because if one of those 4 misses the cut, it could be a rough week. But the thing about the 4 that I'm on the most is that they're probably going to be chalk. This week is going to be pretty chalky, it seems like. There's one player that I'm on, and on the high tier that I don't think will be as popular, and that's kind of going to be the make or break point for me. Any thoughts about the youngster? I'm not even going to butcher his name. Got to hear it first. That's one of those names that I have to hear first. They're infamous, but I'm fading him this week. Just kind of need to see it a little bit more. I don't know. It's tough with players like that where you don't have stats to really go off of and you haven't really seen them enough, so I'm not going with him. This week is scary, yeah, it is, but it's not at the same time. I know someone said on Twitter, like, this is a week that 9 to 5 normally does well at, and it's true. Like, I don't know, these are the weeks where, digging in and diving deep into like each and every play can be very beneficial, and really focusing on getting 6 or 6 across the cut line is a huge factor. But there are that couple putts here and there. The cut sweat on Friday is going to be huge, kind of like it was last week as well. So this is definitely going to be an interesting week with that. Do want to just go over some of the plays like always here for you guys. So one of my favorite plays this week, and I already touched on it in the first video. Christopher, I'm messing it up. The fat fingers right now. There we go. Christopher Ventura. So I do like him as a play a ton. Top 15 staff, as you guys can see there. He's made his last 3 cuts. He's been pretty consistent as a whole, actually. Recently, you look at his like past results. They've all been under or even par, which kind of points to someone being a solid play this week, especially in an event like this, because let's say they had played that caliber of event, he probably would have made the cut if it was this week. So I do like him as a play. Strong driving distance, strong in birdie or better percentage. Been total driving and ball striking the ball really well. Obviously had that top 20 finish at the Puerto Rico Open as well. Then I don't really know how to feel about Thomas Dietrich. So obviously he doesn't have the stats that we would need yet on the PGA Tour to have a full like sample size, but obviously you can look at what he did on his PGA Tour card to see kind of his stats. But either way, he does great out as a good play. Had a 33rd finish here last year. Been playing great golf on the Euro Tour. The only worry about him and maybe like Zalatoris and some of those other guys that played at the US Open is that week was a grind. And then you're coming over, getting on a plane, and coming to like a completely different atmosphere. It's interesting. But for these younger guys, these guys that are trying to earn like a full-time tour card and whatnot, they're going to be motivated. So it kind of goes both ways. So it's very interesting in general there, how we should look at it. Let's see it. So Seamus Power. So Rob Oppenheim, I am not on. Is that how you say it? I might be. I don't know if you. Yeah, that's how you say it. I don't know if you guys watch the stupid Netflix Selling Sunset. It's the Oppenheim group. I got that in my head now for some stupid reason. If you guys don't get that, that's a horrible reference, and I apologize. Decent show though. Okay, it's okay. Fiance makes me watch it. But anyways, yeah, I get it. 9th at the Puerto Rico Open, 35th here in 2018. See, for a play like this, it's like you can't really go off of the stats too much because at some point, everyone's a little bit equal. So like pretty much from the top 30 stat fits on, they're all about the same play, to be honest with you. So I get it as a play, but I would much rather go with Power just because we've seen the upside with him, especially recently. And at the score. So we had a 5th year in 2018, top 10 stat fit. So he's a guy where I expect him to put it all together a little bit more. Yes, they're both risky GPP plays. I kind of expect Power to make the cut, but it is a dart throw with him. And I have a ton of them, and it's a little bit scary. This is off topic. Oh, do I watch UFC? Potentially there, Owen. Eventually, 9 to 5 is going to keep growing. So the next step after, covering the PGA and covering up NFL is going to be get into NBA a little bit more. We've done that here and there. I would definitely love to get into NBA a lot more. And then once we establish ourselves there, then start branching out a little bit more. So that's definitely, it could be in the horizons. Won't be this year, maybe the year after that. So my real focus is, PGA and NFL, doing the best content there. Don't want to stretch myself too thin or anything like that. Maybe bring someone in for NBA next year because NBA is great. I love the grind of NBA, but that'll be more something, next year. And then after that, maybe baseball, maybe UFC, maybe some soccer. Soccer's fun. I wish tennis was a little bit more popular than it was because tennis is a great grind to watch it. I wish they had tennis set up like they did golf, where it's Thursday through Sunday or whatever the tournament week is. Sometimes it's like Monday through whatever. Well, that's kind of my feelings. Random path there, sorry. Doug in, no, not for me. Don't have any of him there, Scott. Let's see here. Is there a chalk play you would fade in this tournament? Do you have anyone in mind there specifically with that? Because I know the players that I'm on, I'm perfectly happy with it because I think they're all going to make the cut. This week, for the most part, anyone that's chalk is chalk for a reason. So it's like you can't really fade the chalk because they're chalk for a reason this weekend. You really can't avoid it. And yes, someone might be 30-40% owned, like Will Gordon is going to be very popular. He's popular for a reason. He was mispriced on DraftKings. He was mispriced, the outright odds as well. Hey, thanks DFS Chef, appreciate it. I'll pull him up. Vincent Whaley, did I say that right? I always mess up these guys that we haven't seen enough. I see what you're saying. So he's a guy that grades out as someone that should make the cut. I'll pull it up here on the screen. So he's a guy that grades out as someone that should make the cut. And, 9th at the Puerto Rico Open. I get it. Man, I might have to get a little bit of him. I get it as a play. He grades out as someone that should make the cut. I don't know. For me, though, I didn't want to drop into the value tier at all this week. It's a little bit scary. I did it with like a few builds because I was trying to lock in like 5 out of 6 across the cut line rather than trying to mix and match my way with a balanced build to try to get 6 or 6 across the cut line. So I get it, though. That's an interesting play. I like it. I see what you're seeing there. Okay, play. So Will Zalatoris. Let's see if I can pull up a build here. 1 second. I'm going to try to pull up a DraftKings build with Zalatoris in there. All right, so I'm going to make one with Zalatoris here. It's going to be a random build. It's going to be a GPP build here for you. And I want to show you, like, yes, you can play Zalatoris, but if he misses a cut or if someone else misses the cut, you're really going to be struggling. So let's do a 9-5 build. So we'll go Kirk, we'll go Naismith, who's another 9-5 guy recently. Patrick Rogers, definitely a 9-5 guy. Shank. And then 78 left over, whatever. So, like, you definitely can do it. But once you get past, like, the 7-6 K range, then you're really starting to bring in the factor of some miscuts. So, that's kind of the worry there. It's like, I really don't see why Zalatoris will be chalk because I think Sam Burns is just as good of a play. Heck, I think someone like Will Gordon, you could argue it's like the exact same play, and I don't really get why he's priced as low as he is. I don't think Zalatoris should be chalk, so if he is that chalky, yeah, I probably would fade him, to be honest with you. Hughes or Long? This is a great question because I was on them both, especially a lot recently. I was on Adam Long last week a little bit. Low exposure play, so like 2% last week, but top 25 stat fit, 6 straight make cuts in a row, second at the Macoba. All right, just for me, I can't pay this much for him. I really can't. And then same thing for Hughes. And the thing why people really liked Mackenzie Hughes last week was because he played really well on tough tracks. Now, technically speaking, he should play well on this course. I mean, he has in the past as well, but I don't know. It's interesting. So what you guys are seeing here, why it's total driving and ball striking in here, not in here. This is all from the Safeway Open, and that was kind of what I was driving those stats from. And then everything else is from last year. I kind of wanted to mix and match in there so I could see, hey, which were the guys that are striking and hitting the ball well recently, because that's who we have in this tournament. But I also did want to get the full picture. That's kind of the problem with early season DFS. That's kind of what you get. You either pulling stats from last year or this year. You can combine it, but honestly, that's a lot of work. And at some point, you just need to have an end line with stats. It's like people's golf game changes about, I would say, like every 2 months or so. So that's just kind of a weird tangent there. Power or Kirk? So they both have been struggling recently. I'd probably go with Power just based on the upside, but Kirk, I don't mind as well there. Alex, hey, I'm seeing a lot of similar names here. I appreciate that, guys. It's awesome to see like all the same names coming back into the live stream, so it's always cool to see. Any thoughts on Luke List? I'm glad you asked. I know everyone loves Luke List. He's like the DFS darling for everyone. Got him as a top 5 stat fit here. Top 20 in total driving and ball striking. Has that really strong driving distance, strong strokes gained tee to green, strong par 5 scoring. He's a guy that should really, honestly, push for a top 10, and he's very cheap. And he had been playing decent golf recently as well. I'll pull him up here on the DraftKings spot. So other than that one missed cut at the Northern Trust, been playing really good golf, and he had that 75, which was just horrible. But other than that, he had been putting it together pretty well for a while there. So I don't mind him as a play, and he is priced down. And what I don't get, it's like I think Luke List is almost just as good of a play as someone like Zalatoris too. So it's a strange week. There's not really any locks, to be honest with you. There's a few guys checking all the boxes, but I wouldn't say that they're locks. So it definitely makes this week interesting. Always trust your gut. Yeah, if you're trusting your gut, especially with like golf, you at least have a reason to have that gut feeling. Like there's stats or recent form or something to go off of. And that's kind of what I would preach there. It's like, in golf, why a guy isn't going to make a cut and why he should make the cut. That's kind of the beauty of golf, where like football, it could simply just be a freaking another running back came in to spell the normal running back, which has happened to Eckler a couple of times, which is annoying for NFL side. But anyways, we'll say, guys, NFL live stream as well are on Sundays, so definitely check those out. Those have been good. The last 2 weeks have been pretty darn solid for the NFL side of it. We'll be wrapping up this live stream here in about 5 minutes or so. So if you guys have any more questions, get those in. If not, be heading out here shortly. This is a good event. I will touch on some outrights here real quick. So I do like Sam Burns at 20-1. I think he is just as good of a play, if not better, than those three. Just as high likelihood to win. The worry about Sam Burns is he could potentially miss the cut, so that's the biggest worry with him there. So Dietrich, I don't think he has upside to win, but I do really like him as a play. Denny McCarthy, I do really like him as a play. Just worry about his upside to win. Adam Schenk, though, I do love at 40-1 there. You could say he's like the Xander play of last week, where all things are pointing to him just being like the go-to play, price point for this outright betting value. Just kind of checking all the boxes. He plays well at courses like this, has been playing great golf, 7 straight make cuts in a row. So at 40-1, honestly, he'd probably be my favorite outright bet. Will Gordon was one of my favorite ones early on. He was at 90-1 on Monday. He's all the way down to 60-1, which is kind of crazy. So Patrick Rogers wouldn't shock me if he came out in 1 as well. So that's decent. I will give a couple of long shot bets here. Seamus Power, 100-1. I like that a lot better than playing him on a DraftKings lineup. So if you guys are one of those that do both outright betting and DraftKings lineups, I think I'd much rather play Power with a bet, because 100-1 is pretty juicy there for him. And, that's really it. Maybe Ryan here at 150-1. That's okay. Michael Glick, you know who I'm trying to say there. 175-1. That's all right. DJ Trahan, another 9-5 guy. No, I don't see it this week. I would love him to have popped this week, because this is kind of the weeks that I've gotten on him, and he's played really well. I'm a little bit worried about that, though. Let's see here. Had a couple more questions. So any thoughts on Kyle Stanley? So Kyle Stanley, I like him. Top 30 stat fit. Third at the Puerto Rico Open. He's a guy that should play better, and I think he's going to have a much better year this year. He could kind of have a little bit of a comeback, if you will. Like 2 or 3 years ago, he was an absolute stud, ball striking and driving the ball really well. We saw that last 2 events ago at the Safeway Open, where he kind of got that back. So I don't mind Kyle Stanley as a play. I think he's worth the risk. I think there's a little bit better plays, a little bit lower and a little bit higher salary price point wise, but I get it. If you're ending up on him as the 6th player in your build, I think I would feel pretty comfortable with it, which kind of sums up this week for us. JJ Spawn, no JJ for me. Hey Alex, so thoughts on Ventura? I mentioned that earlier. I would say he's probably my second favorite play this week. If he was a little bit lower priced by like Shank, then he'd be my favorite play. Price point's a little bit high for him, but he's a play that we liked at the Safeway Open when he didn't clutch up for the victory. But it's going to be tough for me to avoid Ventura. He is priced at a decent price point. He's like the lowest price guy that I feel safe with. So, yeah, I like him a ton. Top 15 stat fit. Any other questions here, guys? If not, I'm going to be wrapping up here. Yeah, really want Ventura to come through for that victory. Ventura, Shank, Patrick Rogers. Those are my top 3 that I'm rooting for this week. Mostly because I've been on them before, but also I'm on them a ton this week. All right, guys. So that is going to end this live stream. Definitely check out the Sunday live stream. That will be at 10 to 11 on Sunday, a little bit before lock, but gives you enough time to make your lineups and whatnot, do those changes that you need to do. News will come out during that we can adjust to, so we'll be looking forward to that. It's always a fun time on those Sunday streams. All right, thanks, guys. We're out.